Record to the cloud. Okay, I must have just beeped myself. Yep, I'm going crazy now. All right, so we are December 14th, council meeting. Going to go straight to roll call. Councilman Benedetti.
Here.
Councilman Wolf.
Here.
Councilman Curl.
Here.
Councilman McNamara.
Here.
Council President Shrimp.
Here.
And Councilman Bruger.
Here.
All right. Next, I'm going to black out this computer. I'm going to go into the other room where Chief and John are for a little special feature. So bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, we're going to stay a little bit further apart though. All right. So as most everybody knows, John has been with the village for 40 years, volunteering his time down at the pool. This year is his 40th year, but not only was it his 40th year, it was a challenging year for everybody down at the pool. Trying to rearrange everything that we had done for many years, trying to keep all of the residents safe, trying to make sure that residents felt comfortable, making sure the lifeguards felt comfortable. I have had the pleasure of being down there many times. I cannot tell you how many people were thrilled that we were able to open the pool, and that is 99% due to John. Bending over backwards, trying to do everything he could to get this pool open, reaching out to JC Pool, him and I having lots of conversations as I'm freaking out, saying that I just don't think we can do it. So it was his little push and the lifeguards that really solidified, we can do this and we can do it safe. So I just want to say thank you for everything you did this year. I know you've done everything for 40 years, but you saved the summer is how, I can't tell you how many times I heard the you saved the summer. Not from just residents, but people from around the village. The pool has never done so well as far as financially. I can't give you all the credit for that. We were one of the only pools open, but had we not done it, I think a lot of us would have had a really crappy summer. So I appreciate you doing it for 40 years, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you did this year. So this is for you.
Thank you.
We wanted to do it at the end of the pool season, but we were really trying to hope that we could get back in the building and do this live in person with actually some guests and some of your friends. But this is as good as it's going to get.
Well, thank you guys. But the only thing I would say is Tiffany does not give herself enough credit, because without her, she said from the get-go, I want this pool open. She made it happen. A lot of communities didn't take that risk. We did it safely. I give her all the credit, but thank you all for this. And thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you so much. All right. Does anybody want to say anything before he gets out of here? I know we've got a lot of council people on there. We have different things like that. If anybody would like to comment, anybody have any questions for John before I do let him go?
How many years you got left in you, John?
What's that?
Are we doing 60? Are we going to be doing 60 years?
Tony, I think I'm aiming for 70 if you stay with me. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Is that it? Does anybody have anything else?
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Thank you guys too for all your support.
All right. So I'll let you get out of here. I'm sure you got school tomorrow.
See you, Coach.
All right. And we're back. Multitasking in multi-rooms. All right, so let's go straight to the November 16th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review those?
Yep. Move to approve.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Anything? All right. So we will get those posted to the website as soon as possible. Let's go straight to
the village official reports. Let's start with Chief Delp.
Thank you, Mayor. The only thing I have in addition to my submitted reports is we do have a new officer starting tomorrow. We hired an officer from Licking County Sheriff's Department named Reese Southard. He'll begin his HR stuff tomorrow morning and hopefully be on the road working as a full-time officer in just a few weeks.
Great.
That's all I have.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Chief? All right. Okay, we're going to go to Mike Flickinger. Mike, I am so sorry to put you on the spot for all of this. I told all of council how wonderful you were going to be and show up to this meeting tonight and give us some updates, except I did forget to tell you. So you are here. I know that I kind of just told you just a quick end of year update is really all we're looking for. I don't want to completely put you on the spot. I know we have a lot of projects and that are ending right now, thank goodness, and some new things that are coming up, but just a quick overview of where you are and what you're doing for us right now.
Okay, I can do that. I'll try to keep it brief. And I told the mayor that if it went too long, that she had permission to boot me from the meeting. So
I promised I would do that.
So very quickly, the 2020 sanitary sewer improvements project, we anticipate Insight completing their field work this week. Then the only thing we will have left is to review their post-construction CCTV information to make sure the lining was correct and cured correctly, and that will wrap up that project once we are able to do the review. Task order 14 is the Westerville City School District review task. Right now, we're just waiting on any information that the school district is planning to submit for the proposed middle school and any changes to Hawthorne Elementary School. And then also we have sort of on-call services to provide inspections for the village, for the water line and the sanitary sewer between where the city of Columbus's responsibility ends and where the building department's responsibility ends. So we'll be providing inspection services for those two items. The 2020 2020 storm sewer improvements project, again, similar to the sanitary sewer, we're expecting Insight to complete their field work this week. We did get a call at the end of today that one of the lines that was the bid item required them to make a point repair and complete the inspection. Flowline wasn't able to complete the inspection when they did that work previously. When completing that inspection, they found that there's another potential deficiency in that line. It looks like there's a pipe joint that might be misaligned. Randall will be contacting Insight tomorrow morning to have that conversation with them and get the information from them. We still have contingency money left in that project if we need to make any additional corrections. So while we expect their field work to complete this week, there's a possibility that it could slip into next week. They're still within their contractually allowed time frame. And then after the field work is complete, similar to the sanitary sewer project, we will review their CCTV files and make a final determination of the work. Task order 17 is the GIS task order. Eric Fisher and our GIS people have started coordinating and starting to get set up so that Eric can review what we have done for the village thus far from a GIS perspective, and then also start mapping out the route we want to take for GIS work in 2021. So that's ongoing. Task order 18 is the potential 2021 storm sewer improvements project. Resource International completed their survey a couple weeks ago and delivered that to us, the electronic files to us. So we've now taken that information and we are starting our hydraulic modeling to determine the recommended pipe size for the storm sewer. that comes from the Park Lane Drive area into the head of the North Lake. And as we've worked out an agreement or worked out a scenario with the mayor, once we complete our modeling, we'll try to put together a preliminary construction estimate, and then we'll discuss that project with the village before proceeding forward with detailed design to make sure everybody is on board and make sure everybody understands the scope of work. I'm hoping that we can have the modeling work complete. I had hoped that we'd have it complete by the end of the calendar year, but seeing as how we got the survey a little later than we expected, and it's halfway through December, and with everybody's PTO, it's probably going to be a early January completion for that, but it won't put the overall project behind schedule if we proceed. So we're good there. The last item that's ongoing right now for us as a group is the wading pool replacement project. I was not able to follow up with Patterson Pools today. And I wasn't able to follow up with our field guy today. So the village might actually have better information than I have right now, but they were expected to start demolition work today. So I just need to follow up with Patterson and make sure that's ongoing. They have almost all of their permits in hand. They are waiting on one permit from Blendon Township, I believe, for a small building that's on the site. It just needed a PE's, a professional engineer's seal rather than the landscape architect seal. So they just had to resubmit for that. So that should not be a problem. And then we have their submittals that we are getting ready to return to Patterson. So they are on pace to take care of that project by the contractually obligated end date. So that's pretty much it for what's ongoing right now at the village. As the mayor said, there are a couple things that I would like to follow up with the village, but that's early 2021 items. Specifically, we purposefully did not do any CCTV work of the sanitary sewers or storm sewers this year because there was just so much work going on out in the village, and it would have been a little crowded. So I wanted to put that work off until 2021. And then also, I feel it was better from a scheduling perspective if we can get CCTV work done in 2021, and then the village determines they want to make a project out of it. It would roll right into the typical fall application date for an OPWC grant. So I'll be following up with the mayor about setting some time aside to discuss that and getting the CCTV scopes of work out to Flowline for their quote. I think that's it, Mayor.
Perfect. Okay. Here's
I have one question, if I may.
Yeah, well, you were about to hit my loaded question. My loaded question is, does anybody have any questions for Mike?
My question is on the new calculations, which you say you haven't done yet, that they're going to come into the new East Shore project. There's going to be, didn't we go from a 30 to a larger pipe for the regular East Shore project?
I don't have that in front of me. I think I thought we maintained the 30-inch pipe that was already there.
Okay.
I think we just did a replacement of the pipe size that was there, but we recovered some capacity in that 30-inch diameter pipe by disconnecting when the project is complete, the catch basin that's in that backyard will no longer connect to that 30-inch diameter pipe. Instead, will go directly to the North Lake. So even though we didn't increase the pipe size, we actually recovered some of the capacity out of that pipe.
I misunderstood that. In other words, you're going to extend the pipe?
Currently, the catch basin that's there now ties into that 30-inch diameter pipe.
Right.
Our project disconnects that catch basin from connecting to that pipe and runs a pipe directly to the North Lake from the catch basin. So there will be two pipes running to the North Lake from the East Shore portion. A 30-inch diameter pipe, and then I believe a 10-inch diameter pipe.
Now, is this, as you know, Mike, both my neighbors on both sides are always asking me about this. So I just want to be clear. So we're now going to have the storm sewers drain directly into the lake by way of pipeline.
They do now. It's just we're doing it slightly differently.
You're eliminating the catch basin, basically.
Well, there's the catch basins in my yard. So there was talk about putting a new head wall there.
No, this catch basin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, council member,
Okay.
We're getting in. I thought we were going to have with
Exactly.
the detail meeting. We're going to have a detail meeting.
Well, I just wanted to
coming
get
up,
it.
right?
I just wanted to get it real generally, Diane, because I get
Well,
asked.
we just got, yeah, we just started. I raised my head when it started in my mind to go from general to
Correct.
specific.
And,
Oh, okay.
and I'm not in disagreement.
Well,
Joe, just
I was
so
just
you
trying to
know,
clarify the general, not get specific.
well,
But
I think that it's still there's, as of right now, in my understanding is they haven't gone through all of the data again to make sure that we're still, that's exactly what we're going to do. So I would hate for them to say something and then it actually change again until they review the final information.
so
Joe,
real
in the meeting,
generally, though, everybody asked me is there's going to be apparently a prospect of a new head wall there, and then these pipes are going to terminate into the culvert there.
right? And I
That
think
is our, I'm sorry, Mary, just real,
No, go
that
ahead.
is our intent. There will be
Okay.
there will be a new head wall and there will be new pipes penetrating that head wall connecting to the North Lake.
Okay, well that explains it.
Perfect.
My only question then is there going to be any survey of the new water that's coming in there faster and in a larger volume that travels from there to the lake? And I'm not asking you to answer it. I'm just saying, is that on the plan?
Okay, so I'm just gonna throw this out here. We had a really large discussion about this, or maybe not really large discussion, but on Saturday we had actually discussed that we were gonna have, the whole plan of this was for Mike to give us a general end of year, like this is where we are, this is what we're doing, and we are going to be inviting Mike. He does not know this yet, but we would really like to invite Mike in January, even if we don't have full detail on the East Shore Court project. But a more in-depth conversation that I'm going to call it Streets meeting. Maybe we shouldn't call it that. Maybe we should just call it the Mike Flickinger meeting to go over in detail all of these projects, because I want to hit the Maplewood conversation, the Maplewood intersection conversation. I want to ask Mike, when should we start the CCTV for the storm? I don't want to get into all that right now. So the conversation
No,
was,
I just wanted general information because I get asked all the time.
and I'm not in disagreement with that, but I think if they could just hold out
Usually if I
another,
talk to the neighbors, they won't call you, although
Right.
I know they have.
yeah. So I would just tell them 3 more weeks, Mike, we really, I know you may not have all of your specific data, but if you could potentially, it is the 3rd Monday in January. I don't know if you're available, and if you're not, maybe we'll schedule a different day, but that was our tentative date for you to do like a 2021 review for all of the council members. So that was kind of keep this brief. So let's end Mike's conversation right now. And Mike, I will discuss
Well,
a
I
date
just
with
want to
you.
put one more thing in there before we end it. That is, I've had a number of contractors down here looking at the channel that goes from where the proposed new head wall is going to be down to the lake to try and determine what I can do to improve that situation. Because it sounds like we're going to have much more faster water flow in there, and there's going to be flooding and stuff. So when that comes up, I just like to, see if they're going to, take that into consideration so that I can then know how to proceed myself. And if I have to, dig channels or do repairs here,
And
put
I'm
up
sure
walls
that will,
and stuff like that.
and I'm sure we can get into all of that as soon as we get to the actual Streets meeting. So that would be awesome. So let's do, if nobody has anything other than telling Mike to have a wonderful holiday season, let's move on to the next person.
Diane's got her.
Have a wonderful holiday season, Mike.
Go ahead, Diane. You're on mute though. Diane, you're on mute.
Mute, Diane.
Thank you. Quick question. I don't know if you happen to know this, Mike, or not. you mentioned the one area of the storm sewer that there's a point repair. Do you know where that is? What the location of that is?
I do not.
Okay.
In the voicemail message, Tom from Insight, he told me he mentioned the bid item and I didn't cross-reference it, but I believe he said he actually has marked it on the street. So our field guy will be out there tomorrow to talk to him about it probably.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go to, I do not think Leah is on here.
Yes.
Oh,
Is she on here?
one last point,
Yes,
Tiffany,
yes.
Mayor Tiffany.
Go ahead. Oh, I do see you, sorry.
Oh, one
Joe, go
last
ahead.
point. As this goes on, there was mention in the last newsletter about, we were going to show the taxpayer dollars at work and put some photos of work on progress and stuff. I need to know when these crews are going to be at a certain place to be able to go out and get the photographs. It's a simple thing, but I can't get the pictures if I don't know where they are or when they're there. I'm glad to do.
I'd be more than happy to snap some because I see them every day, all day, especially in the last 3 weeks. We do have somebody, I have some pictures that I have been giving to Becky. But as far as, most of the ones doing the street sewer projects, I mean, honestly, they've been in the village for about 3 months. So just drive around until you find them because they move from location to location to location. I don't have their spot locations.
Well, I've done that. I have some pictures. I'll send them to you.
They're the only ones currently in the village that I'm aware of that's doing work right now, other than the city of Westerville that's building a school. So the only people we have is the same people that have been here for a couple weeks. I don't have anybody else scheduled through all of December, just as an FYI.
Well, do you happen to, since we're off topic anyway, regarding the baby pool then, if I went to take for the MPC.
I forgot about them.
Pardon me? If they're tearing it down, it might be a nice point to take a picture.
I would say get there yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. So they're done.
No, I don't know. I would say
Okay.
tomorrow would be a good day. I probably wouldn't
No,
wait.
I will check tomorrow. I just didn't know if you were confirming that they were actually there yesterday or not.
No, I think they were supposed to start today from Mike's Flickinger's, but I don't know if they did. So
Okay.
I totally forgot they are actually in the village working too. See, we have so many projects. Even I can't keep them straight.
Okay.
So yes,
Well,
that would be a good one to stop by every couple weeks to get some,
A few pictures really do help because the community can see at a quick glance when they get the newsletter, the work in progress, as opposed to hearing about it and then
Right.
wonder.
I agree. All right. So let's get over to Fiscal Officer Leah.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, and we can see you.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Yay. I
Merry
don't have much to
Christmas.
report. So we were able to close out the month of November, and Kim and I are going to be working on closing out the year these next couple of weeks. But that's all I have for you.
And then just as an FYI, only because you already told me this, but just for everybody else to remember, is the December's documents December's month will be delayed because we do have to wait for a certain document to come in. You were telling me about
Right.
that. So just everybody be patient for December's numbers.
Yes.
Yes. So, all right. Works for me.
Mayor,
Yes?
may I chime in for a second?
It depends.
I just wanted to publicly acknowledge Leah. Leah has set the record for the fastest invoice payment that we're getting, and our project accountants and our delivery people are extremely thrilled with the
Well, yeah,
the
that's
turnaround-
not good. That's
the
the wrong
turnaround
thing.
the turnaround that we get.
Too
So-
fast. Too fast.
Oh.
Thank you.
So-
Thanks, Mike.
So
But-
we're paying
but-
our bills. That's good.
Yes.
But we so I was actually able to use the village as an example of how we worked with a client to start invoicing electronically and work with a client to let them pay electronically, and how that's helped both of us, and it's helped speed up payments and get everything moving. So I just wanted to publicly thank Leah for what she's been doing. So thank you.
I would
Thank
agree.
you. Thank
I
you
would
so
agree.
much.
All right. Nice to put you on the spot. Anyway, Okay, again, yeah, Leah, this has been a great, I'll get off topic too, because this has been a great year working with everybody. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Okay, so let's get on to Jesse and see if he has anything for us. Uh-oh, are you saying bye, Diane? Or are you saying
No,
talk?
I'm saying I have a question for Leah.
Go ahead.
Just in terms of, can you refresh my memory? Do we have, in terms of getting the end of the year reports, which I know could be late January, but it seemed to me dependent on if there's a formal audit or not. And can you refresh on the end of the year and when we can look forward to seeing how we did last year?
Yes, so Kim gave me that information. She said that we received that certificate from the auditor's office usually by the end of January, and I believe she said last year it even came in February. But she just wanted to she wanted me to remind you all, especially the new council members, that you won't receive the information from December, from the end of the year, until late January, maybe even early February.
So it might be early February. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
And this year's just been crazy for getting anything done. It could be March. Everything's been, we got one of the bills.
That would be bad, but okay.
I know. No, we got one of the bills that was actually due the day that she got it. So that's been going on too. So it's always interesting down there. So let's move on to Jesse. If nobody has any more questions for Leah, and if anybody comes up with any, just let me know. But let's go on to Jesse.
Thank you, Mayor, and I don't have anything to report.
That's even better.
Neat.
That's report.
You win. Okay,
Yes.
let's go to Tony for planning. Does anybody have any questions for Jesse? You don't get off the hook that easy. All right. Nobody does. So let's go on to planning and zoning. Tony.
Well, I don't have anything to report either because I don't believe we had a meeting since the last meeting.
I agree.
Except for we're looking for people to turn in their letters of interest if they want to be a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Correct. And I had, there you go. And I did get somebody that reached out again today. So we do have quite a few people that we're going to be looking at that is interested in planning and zoning. And just as an FYI, I already talked to Eric about this earlier today, and Tony, this is for you. We are not going to have our first planning and zoning meeting until the 3rd week of January, because I would like to get all of the planning and zoning applicants, go over all of them, get with council to recommend who we're going to put on planning and zoning, because as of January 1st, the 2 planning and zoning members aren't even part of planning and zoning any longer. So I'm going to get my recommendations together for you guys, the first meeting, and then we will have our first meeting together just a couple days after our current meeting. So that's just how planning and zoning is going to work this year. So we will not have our first meeting, Tony, until the 3rd. I think it's the 3rd Wednesday of January. So FYI.
Doesn't hurt much.
Is that kind of a reorganization?
No, it's actually the way that it should have been done every year. Is that correct?
Okay.
Is that a nice way to, is that a correct way to say it, Diane? That's the way it should be done each year.
Well,
Yes.
the
Yes.
terms of the planning and zoning members only last for 2 years.
Correct.
And that's
So-
never really been done before.
And we have 2 that expire this year and 1 that expires next year. And then, but as you guys are aware, we have some non-voting members as well. So we haven't really got into everything on that. So let's move to village planner. Eric.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Just a couple quick things, legislation type items. First one is I sent around a copy of the ordinance 2020, and this dealt with something that was kind of lost in the mix, but talked to Mark today and we got it back on the agenda so it could be at least a first reading, and that dealt with the making it very clear for how permits are handled, which has been kind of an ongoing discussion item. So we want to make sure that's all cleared up. So that's there for everyone to review. Take any questions on that. Obviously, it's got 3 readings. The other item is I had a discussion this morning based on our discussion on Saturday morning with both Jesse as well as Mike Flickinger, who are both present and can speak to this. At this time, if you want to take the sidewalk ordinance off the table, It is all 100% correct. And obviously, if there's any concerns or questions, both of the experts in those areas, law and engineering for the sidewalks, are here. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I'm glad that you wanted to do it this way, Eric. Are
Sounds
you
good.
done? Eric, is that it for your report? Because I'd like to talk about this. It's not correct. And, Mike, maybe you can weigh in on this. Or I don't know, Mike, have you looked at the way the sidewalks are built over there in the new development? Maybe he's not.
I've seen the detail that they use.
Well, right. And this is the one thing that I would like to see taken out of the ordinance is the requirement to have the sidewalks. And, and this should have been taken care of. This is another one of my gripes, is that we should have been talking about this Saturday morning at our work session, but here we are in our council meeting going over the details of this. And Eric, you've, somehow decided that your interpretation of it, and you've decided that it's all correct. Well, some of the things that I'd like to change out of there, it's not a matter of being correct or incorrect. It's just a change that I would like to see made, so I really hope, let's just, try to make this as simple as possible and refer this to the committee again, because here's the one thing I would say, Mike, is that the sidewalks in the new development do not have the sidewalks are supposed to be 6 inches deep where the driveways are at. And another additional foot over into the sidewalk is supposed to be 6 inches deep. That is not the way they were built in the new development. Okay, so that's what I want taken out, because it isn't built that way. And Mike, I don't know if you've looked at them close enough, or have even looked at them, but that isn't the way that they're built over there. And that's why I want that taken out.
Are they 4 inches instead of 6, Tony?
Joe, the other thing that the problem with that ordinance is the way in the specifications. It's not an issue of the language is incorrect. It's just the way that it's numbered is incorrect. It goes, and I didn't catch this the first time, is that it also describes specifications for aprons, and it needs to be separated out, because it goes from specifications of sidewalks, and then it jumps into specifications for aprons. That needs to be changed. So this is what it is with you, Eric, that really irritates me, is that, you're entitled to your opinion, and I respect your opinion, but you're not the person that decides these things, and that it's all correct. And then we need to move forward because Jesse and Mike think it's correct. Well, Jesse and Mike, neither one of you guys have gone out, I don't think, and looked at these sidewalks.
Okay.
Like I said, I really wish you would table it. And what really irritates me is that, the legislation that has been passed in the past few years dealing with codes is some of the worst ordinances that I've seen. And this is if I hadn't looked at the sidewalk ordinance and just let the committee say, oh, it's fine, our experts think it's fine, we wouldn't have seen the things about the 4 foot. I mean, those are just basic things that it says that the sidewalks are supposed to be 5 foot when they're really only 4 foot wide. So why you have to argue with me about what's incorrect about it when you couldn't even see that? You looked at 250 plans to the houses and didn't realize that the sidewalks are only 4 feet. So wow.
I'll throw a question in there that might help, and then it might not. But Eric, as all this was built, don't we have as-is drawings?
We do, Joe. That's an excellent question, and those got sent over to Mike to review from EMH&T. And Mike, I'll let you speak to the ordinance and how how you reviewed it when you were presented with what EMH&T had sent over. So whether you think it's correct or not.
Well, first I want to say I looked at this. I wasn't asked to look at this ordinance versus what was actually installed. I was asked to look at the ordinance, as my understanding was the ordinance going forward. And I looked at the ordinance based on that concept. And what was included in the ordinance generally matched what I have seen in multiple communities, including the city of Columbus, which we tend to use as the standard within Central Ohio, because that's who people are most familiar with is the city of Columbus. And looking at the city of Columbus's standard detail, the sidewalk thicknesses, the sidewalk material references, the slopes of the sidewalks, etc., those matched in a typical residential area what was included in the city of Columbus. I recommended a couple little tweaks just to bring it more officially in line with the city of Columbus, some rounding things and things like that. But it generally matches what the city of Columbus requires. The material references are slightly different in that they reference ODOT CMS versus the city of Columbus CMS, but that's not an issue. And I did check it against the ODOT CMS, and the numbers generally are, or the materials are generally in line with what the city of Columbus has on their detail and within their CMS. I will say that I did mention to Eric and Jesse this morning that it is very common for municipalities to require the driveway thickness, the sidewalk to be the same thickness of the driveway for a specific distance outside of the sidewalk that crosses the driveway. I think the city of Columbus actually requires one full panel or a minimum of 5 feet. I think the ordinance or the legislation that the village is contemplating says 12 inches. I will readily acknowledge that is something that is specified in pretty much every detail I've seen. Yet I'm not sure if I can point to an example of it actually noticeably being done, that you might see like a 6-inch thick, 1 foot wide panel outside of the driveway. You normally just see the panels pick up. So if that particular inspector required that adjacent panel, the entire panel, to be 6 inches thick like the city of Columbus, I'm not sure, because we actually were not responsible for inspecting sidewalks put in as part of the house itself. So that's an acknowledgement to Tony to Councilman Benedetti that is something that's in most everybody's requirements, but it's a difficult thing for me to point to and say everyone enforces it everywhere. But as far as sidewalk thicknesses, sidewalk widths, sidewalk slopes, sidewalk materials, I did review that information, and what's in the ordinance is what I would have expected based on a city of Columbus standard drawing.
Well, the purpose of that is simply that the weight of vehicles and trucks and things like that, when they're going up an apron and across a sidewalk that transgresses the apron or the driveway, is simply to prevent cracking, is it not?
Yes, but I don't want to speak for Councilman Benedetti, but I think the one thing he is commenting on is that the 6-inch thick requirement, according to the ordinance, actually extends beyond the width of the driveway, and the ordinance requires it to be 12 inches.
That problem with that part of it. I don't have any issues with all the rest of the requirements. It's just that one. And this goes to the issues we have with code enforcement in general. Is if you have rules that are hard to enforce, or it just shouldn't be that difficult. And this is a requirement that's in there that doesn't need to be there. And that's all I'm asking to have done, is taking that out. The part about, in our code, it calls for it being 12 inches into the sidewalk. That's all I'm asking. It's probably 8 words that I'm asking to get taken out of the code.
Well, the 12 inches won't do the job.
I'm sorry, Joe, 1 second. So Mike, with what he's asking, just so we can get to the crux of it, now that we understand what he's saying clearly, is that an issue removing it? Or as you said, with the panels, if the panels extend a full 5 feet, is that the expectation in standard contractors with Columbus that they extend, those 6 inches, a full 5 feet out with their panels? How would you interpret that?
My recommendation would be if the village wants to maintain that 6-inch minimum thickness outside of the drive apron, I would extend it to a full panel on each side.
Okay.
That's that. If that's what the village wants to require that 6-inch thickness, because that's, I mean, it's extra concrete for a panel, but that's more, in my opinion, that's more favorable to a contractor to have to worry about thickening a full panel versus these 2 miniature 12-inch panels outside of the outside of the driveway. That's
Okay.
more effort. That's more finishing. There's more joints to cut, etc.
And that's why I would
Having-
say, looking at the new development, none of them have that extension. Or I say that because there's no expansion material. The expansion material goes just where the driveway, the part of the sidewalk that is parallel with the driveway. That's where the expansion material is at currently. So the new development, and this is why I'm trying to get this changed, is because the new development wasn't built that way. It doesn't appear that way.
Well, we can look at as-is drawings on that. If it didn't extend whatsoever, Mike, it would require expansion joints, wouldn't it? Where the sidewalk meets where it transcends a apron or driveway.
So if I may, the first, what EMH&T sent over, Mike, and I forwarded this to you, was one of the earlier emails, dealt with the curb roadway type B rigid, standard drawing 2201. Specifically, it states the first full panel at the edge of the full width section of the drive, including the drive flare, shall be 6 inches. So I'm assuming that is what we're talking about with the extension of each panel, because that meets Columbus's specs in that case, because that's what they used.
Well, that would eliminate the need for expansion joints then, wouldn't it? If you extend the panel, the full 5 instead of 6 inches.
Yeah,
The expansion joint there isn't it's not driven by the thickness as much as it's driven by the 2 pieces of concrete that you want to give a little bit of flexibility to move between the 2 of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So if you have a heavy truck pulling a driveway
if we could just have the sidewalk ordinance continue to be tabled until we have a chance to go over the other issues with that and the numbering. And then David, maybe you could, I've seen him patiently holding his hand up there to.
Yeah, so gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm the first to admit that I'm not a civil engineer, but I mean, I think everybody can agree that we want our village to be architecturally and I guess functionally sound and durable. So going back and forth with this, they say that a lawyer won't argue a case unless there is a real remedy, a real solution that can be obtained from it. So the question that I'm having for the involved parties is, what is a solution? What is the remedy? What are we hoping to gain from this discussion? We go back and forth about sidewalks and concrete depths. I guess I'm a little, maybe I'm admittedly a little slow on this. What is it we're trying to gain or change specifically here? It seems there's a lot of contention about about that. I'm just trying to figure out what is the solution so that we can put this
David,
matter behind us happily.
I think we'll make a notation change based on what Mike has said to match up with what it should be and how it was built. And I think we've gotten down to the crux of the issue with Tony's concern that he wants it, if I'm not mistaken, you want it done exactly how it's been done in the subdivision. So we'll review it and get a proper language back to legislative committee.
And admittedly, I missed that 12-inch. I missed that 12-inch dimension in the ordinance. I just was thinking that it was a panel width.
Okay.
So
Well,
I think
it
to
doesn't
bring
make
it in,
sense.
I think to bring it in line with, say, City of Columbus, yes, both of the referenced standard drawings do acknowledge the first full panel at the edge of the flare, or the first full panel outside of the drive apron.
Okay.
I think if you were going to if you were going to make a change and keep that in there, that I'm just saying it like that, that's the change I would make.
All right. We'll make that
I
change.
agree. But I don't know what you think, Eric.
Okay, whether or not we take this off the table, keep it going. Let's not rehash all of the sidewalk thing in the middle of this meeting. I think we've beat it with a dead horse 7 times now. So hopefully we can get that figured out and fixed in the next meeting. Eric, did you have anything else for us tonight?
No, ma'am. Unless
Other
there are
than-
questions specific, everything's just humming along. I think the only item of interest to everyone from the facility standpoint is that the architects did get just a little tidbit back that they're going to come back with a few more questions for staff, I think primarily for Chief Delp with the police. And then they will be ready to present something back to council as a whole next month.
Perfect. Okay, and Diane had that question the other day, so that's a great answer. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Eric?
Well, have a good holiday, Eric.
There we
Thank you,
go.
sir.
That's a good one.
Everyone.
Okay, I'm gonna go to MPCA. I was at the MPCA meeting along with Diane this past week.
Good, you missed it sadly.
Oh no, it's fine. So they had their discussion about the Duck Award, and they have a couple different nominees. Unfortunately, I can't think of the 5 off my head, so I'm not going to repeat them because I can only think of 4. So hopefully they'll have a posting here before long with that one and the actual award winner, because the way that they wanted to do the voting, we didn't get the winner that night. They did discuss the 2021 calendar. I know that that's got to be difficult for them to try to figure out right now when we have no idea what COVID's going to do in 2021, but they are working on the 2021 calendar of events. They are going to be selling luminaries again. I do believe it's going to be at Abra's house again, which is, Mark, you're on here. Is it Maplewood, Lakewood? Anybody know? I don't know where he's at. And Diane, I don't know if you remember which weekend it is. I don't remember if it's this weekend or next weekend. I'm thinking it's next.
Aber is on Maplewood.
She's on Maplewood. Does anybody remember what day she's going to do? I tried to find the posting and now I can't find it, but they are going to do luminary sales again. I just don't remember what the date is for it. So keep watching Facebook for it. I'm sure they're going to post it on there and remind all of us, because I know a lot of us are in need of them. So
That was in the newsletter, I think.
it might be. So maybe I just need to go read my own newsletter. So I will do that. But that was the main thing. Diane, did you have anything to add from the MPCA meeting?
No, I guess I can mention that Jean has been temporarily doing the newsletter for the last 4 times, and was able to do a great job of getting it out pretty timely, so, which is great. And but going forward, she's going to be coaching Mary France and I through newsletter production for MPCA. And so the 2 of us will be then taking it going forward, putting the MPCA portion of the newsletter together, and to just be a liaison with Inskeep to help it get out right. So we'll be, Becky still is doing her part for the village administration and getting her portion, the first page of the newsletter, together and submitted separately. So that's going to move forward. And I think that was, and everybody kept saying, again, we could mention one more time that the carriage rides are canceled.
There you go.
Might as well do that right off
Yes.
the bat. And this, you know, this Santa Claus, we'd like to thank Santa Claus, who is present in this meeting, for making the appearance on Saturday and waving to and greeting the kids that did come up. It was not the best weather, but it was pretty good. So
Real quick update on luminaries. It
Yes.
is 2790 Maplewood Drive is the address. And it is Saturday and Sunday, December 19th and 20th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Kits are $5. That gets you 5 luminaries. Please bring exact change.
Perfect. Thank you for that plug because, and then
And
text
it's
me
in
and
the
remind me.
newsletter. That's where I found it.
Okay, great.
yep, it's right in the newsletter, and the Festival of Lights is in there as well, as you know, so they're judging us finishing on the 22nd.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, that's all of our group effort on an MPCA update, and I'm going to go to the mayor's report. I'm not going to bore you guys tonight. Everybody knows what's going on. I think everybody's kind of hit everything. So the only thing I want to say is thank you everybody for this year. I know it's been a little difficult, and thank you for putting up with me because it has been a little difficult for all of us. So hopefully at some point next year, we'll all be back in the building and we'll have normal meetings. But until then, Zoom it is, as much as I hate it. And I think most of you guys are tired of it. It works. I cannot. Well, good. Yeah, we all know how much I hate it. So we're going to leave it alone. So I'm a visual person. I'm an online, I'm a be there person. So again, I just want to thank everybody for everything that they've done this year, because it's been a little difficult for a lot of people. So we do have the toy drive going on. We really have the deadline of around the 15th, I believe. Becky will be in here tomorrow, and I am staring at piles, and I mean piles of toys in my office, because that's where we actually lock them up. So the turnout has been amazing. So she will be dropping everything off at Children's Hospital if we don't have any requests for kids in the neighborhood. So a big shout out to Becky for helping and doing all of that, because it has been wonderful. So that's my mayor's report. I'm not going to be boring tonight. So again, thank you to all the council members, and hopefully next year we'll get some other stuff done. So let's go on to council committee reports. I would love for you guys to ask me questions, but we're just gonna move on. And you guys can do that at the end. So council committee reports, let's start with David McNamara. And I don't know if you want to do we want to do all of that at legislation when we get to that point? Do we want him to bring that up now? Because I think we're not doing it as legislation. We're just doing it as
special motion or something like that.
Special motion. Do you guys want to do that all during legislation, or have him do his now? What do you guys think?
This is just a motion. I'd say we could probably do it now and not during legislation, just not to get it confused with that.
Yeah. So David, you take your spot now, but I just wanted to see if they wanted you to do it now or not.
All right, absolutely. Madam Mayor, members of the council and community, it is my honor and pleasure to address you about the upcoming holiday season. So I can't claim to have developed this idea independently. I was inspired by, I believe, the legislature of the nation of Ireland. However, it still applies here. So due to the public health and congregation restrictions and curfews due to this coronavirus pandemic ongoing through the foreseeable future, sadly, it has made me and many others aware that the activities of Santa Claus would be not exactly possible under the strictest interpretations of the all these public health measures. So I, on the inspiration of the others who've done this before, have written up a special notice or a special what you'd call a special motion that if passed, I guess by voice consent, would declare that throughout the jurisdiction of Minerva Park, that Santa Claus and his reindeer will be essential employees or essential workers, and that their travel would be a covered essential activity, not subject to curfews or other congregation and public health restrictions from bedtime on December 24th to the waking hours of December 25th. If I would be eternally grateful, and I believe that our community would as well, for council support in this motion.
So,
And I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
All those
Aye.
in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Go
All
Santa.
right.
Are there any opposed?
Well,
Where's
what's,
the Grinch? Where's the
what's
Grinch?
Santa gonna do after Christmas with all the returns, David?
We can cross that bridge when we come to it, but let it be known to our wonderful little village that Santa Claus is an essential worker and that his activities are now an essential activity. So Santa can come to Minerva Park. That being said, I am also leaving, the Facebook post on the MPCA and on the open discussion page up for a little bit longer in case there are any stragglers on what we want for 2021. If there is not, I'll throw together a list of the requests, and I'd like to meet as a community committee within the beginning of January, probably after planning and zoning gets together for the first time, so we can figure out how they're gonna, or who's gonna be there. And then we can start laying out our plans for a 2021 community programs and improvements. That is all I have, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Could you send a note to Santa to have those reindeer stop eating my landscaping?
I'm not sure that's gonna work, so.
You gotta leave them carrots. If you don't leave them carrots, they're gonna eat your shrubs.
Well, I'm thinking they're eating more than shrubs. We're thinking that they might be eating some Christmas ornaments and lights. So strings.
Well, we should just be happy that he
Well,
can
that sounds
come
like
out.
that sounds like squirrels to me.
Probably. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Come to think of it,
I'll mention something quickly, without mentioning names. Over here where I am, I happened to notice someone who started to put out a couple of bales of hay, and they put some small farm fence around it right at the lake shore. And I presume that this was to try and feed the deer, and they don't eat hay. They don't eat straw. So the deer are getting kind of hungry. So maybe at some point we could approach some subject there. They eat oats.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
not,
like
I'm sorry.
Newark.
I don't feed the deer. They get, they have to take what they get. I do give them, I do save all my acorns from the front yard and dump them in the back. I do that for them. So they have a nice pile for in the middle of the winter. So they do have that. So, but that's as far as I'm going.
Well, the deer, unfortunately, they're here all the time. They look wanderlust. They look homeless without the golf course, and they're getting skinny. So
Yeah, they need to move on. I think that would be great. Okay, now I know that's not necessarily popular with everyone, but anyway, getting back, where are we in the meeting?
You go. We are on finance.
Oh, okay, finance. All right. So we have not had a finance meeting, but we are since our last one with where we talked about the final items on the budget. So the budget is up for the third reading tonight. And so I believe we're all set. We look really good going into the new year. So I'll say that. And I will also say that reindeer are all female. I just, it was confirmed today that Santa's reindeers are all women. And no, they're all women. All of them are because they are reindeer, and only female reindeer keep their antlers through the winter. So once again, women are doing all the work.
Well,
The way it
we'll have
should
to have
be.
a new song. I'll write a song called A Girl Named Rudolph.
All right, let's get a tiny bit back on track because some of us are ready to go home.
Yeah.
So, all right,
Home.
let's move on. Diane, thank you.
Yeah.
And David, thank you. And again, next year we'll be off and running, and as soon as we get those new reports and all that good stuff. So I agree, we're in a great position. Benedetti, I don't think you're going to have too much. I think everybody took your thunder for streets tonight, but do you have anything?
Not other than the leaf pickup is completed.
Yes, the leaf pickup is completed. I thought he did an even better job than he did last year. He did do our curbs and gutters and the best around the sewer grates and all that kind of stuff. I did go out and look at everything. So I was definitely impressed with that at the end of the year. So Jordan Road was great. So there are probably going to be some people that are going to leave some little piles out because it should have gone through, but with the leaves freezing at the street, it was just too much of, I wanted to make sure that we got everybody in and out instead of everybody putting them out at the end this week. So worst case scenario, I know Brian is watching this, but if we do have a small amount, maybe I'll send him around and do something. I don't know everybody's thoughts about that, but I can only imagine it would be 2 or 3. I saw 2 or 3 itty bitty piles. So
I got a big roundup to do, but I've been putting it in the yard waste buckets.
right, exactly. And that's an option that we do have that service as well. So, but anyways, a big thank you to him this year. I did not get nearly the complaints that, other than when's he coming? That's usually the only question I get all the time. So I really do want to thank him this year for that. Let's move on to communications. Thank you, Tony. Let's move on to Joe for communications and see if you have anything for that.
Well, communications, we went over the newsletter and changes there. Has anyone else been getting a lot of junk mail on their official email through our system? Or am I the only one?
No, you're not the only one. I have had a couple different instances, and what we'll do is if you guys do start seeing that, let us know and we'll let KGT know if there's certain accounts that are getting more junk than others. Because he usually, as soon as KGT finds out, it usually gets knocked off. So we just kind of got to give him an update and let him know. So, but we will let him know, Joe. And if anybody else is having that issue, let me know.
But how else are we going to know that we can get Albanian diet pills for 38 cents a bottle?
Exactly. I'm with you.
30 cents. I get them for 30 cents.
All right, Joe, did you have anything else for communications? I'm going to be the first to admit that hopefully first week of January, second week of January, by our first, maybe we can make a note for this, Diane, the first Saturday work session for every single one of our committees to go ahead and schedule a late January, early February for their first meeting. But right now, I know most people are not thinking about scheduling a meeting right now. So hopefully we can get all of those done the first 2 weeks. And then we've got, we can start off next year with a bang. So, so start thinking, looking at your calendar, seeing what days works best for you, for everybody for that for next year. So Brian, you are next. Safety.
Yep, Safety Committee, we had a meeting, a brief meeting this month. We talked nearly exclusively about the proposed rules for the basketball court. We winnowed it down to a list of 10. They are as follows. 1, use basketball court at your own risk. 2, full court games may only be played if no other players are waiting. 3, limit play to games to 21 if other people are waiting to play. Do not hang on rim. Proper footwear is required. No lowering of the hoops. No glass or alcoholic beverages. Place trash in trash cans. No fighting and no weapons. So at this time, the Safety Committee would like to make a motion that we adopt these as the rules for the basketball court.
Second.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So Mayor Hughes, if you need me, I can email those to you so that you have it.
I think I have them, but just email them to me so we can start working on making something really pretty and getting that built and put together before springtime opens up.
Yep.
Well, I have a question now that it's getting dark at almost 5 o'clock. Is that ended the basketball?
If the weather's nice, they are still out there, even with only one hoop operating.
They using flashlights or?
No, they go when it gets dark. I will say, I have seen our police come and at dusk, make their presence known, and people seem to, find their way out of there quickly thereafter. But yeah, I mean, if the weather's nice, that those days last weekend when it was real nice, the court was as full as it could be with one hoop.
Wow.
So there's no idea of maybe putting lighting on the court?
No.
We will never put lighting on the
No.
court.
Okay.
I agree. I am totally in agreement with that. Okay. So Brian, yes, we will email that to me. We will start working on that this month. That'll give me something to do. So we'll get something, like I said, real nice and pretty and all that good stuff. So
Yep.
one for each side of the thing. Let's go on to Councilman Bruger for legislation, see if we've got an update, and then move on to the actual legislation.
All right, so as far as updates go, we heard quite a bit about the sidewalks earlier. I want to say it's going to be the 11th is going to be our next legislative meeting. That would be the next council meeting day, I believe is January 11th. So it's the second Monday, right?
Yes, it is
Yeah.
the 11th next month.
We're
Yeah.
probably going to have a legislative meeting before that at 6. We'll have one last chance to look at the sidewalks. If anyone has still any problem with it, I'll advise them to bring detailed, this is what I don't like, this is what I want to change it to. Barring that, I plan to then move it and vote on it later in that, or have the committee recommend. I can't do it. I'm not in charge. Anyway, you know what I'm saying.
I'll make one comment, and that is the 11th is probably going to be the national championship game, and it's probably going to be Ohio State in the game. So we may have a conflict there.
I would not call that a conflict.
That's not a conflict.
I'm real into football too, but I don't think I'm going to request that we move a regularly scheduled council meeting for a football game. I have DVR for that.
I'm
I'll
just
watch it
bringing
on a different screen. But wait.
Split screen.
Hey, exactly. Well, it'll be on in the front room. That'll be good enough.
Well,
Good
that's
enough
why
for
I
me.
couldn't make it Saturday. They canceled the Michigan game, but there were still all these events that still had to take place.
Right.
Mhm.
All right. So if you want to go ahead, Mark.
Well, the only other thing is ordinance 2020-20. Would I make a motion to add that to the agenda now or when we get into actual legislation?
Now to amend the agenda.
Yeah, to amend the agenda.
2020.
It's the planning and zoning. Eric sent it out a little earlier. It's the planning and zoning that adds that paragraph, really clarifying that admin can do some of the permitting, which is what we've been doing already for the past year or so. This just makes it clear in our code. It would only be a first reading.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have a few to amend. So, I mean, everybody can correct me if I'm wrong. I would go ahead and just do all of our amendments because if we're adding that, I think, well, I guess we don't have to do anything with the sidewalks. It's already tabled. And then also removing one of the other ones or tabling it right now too. So you have a couple, so maybe just do them at the same time.
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to start with a motion to table resolution 2020-39, final confirmation of SP. This was going to be our first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And I am going to make a motion to add ordinance 2020 to tonight's agenda for a first reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, there we go.
Okay, in that case, I think I am ready for reading of legislation. We have our entire council handbook in here, so it's going to take me a little bit to scroll down where I need to be. Okay, that's sidewalks. That's the one we just tabled. Okay. Well, as I do this, I'm going to start with a first reading then of 2020 because I have that up and ready to go. Ordinance 20-2020 amends the code for our planning and zoning committee. Essentially what this does is give clear and unambiguous language that admin can handle some of the permits as long as they are essentially standard permits without any sort of variance requirements. If it's just, hey, if I'm putting up a fence, it's this, and I know it makes code, admin can handle it. That's how we've been doing things. That now makes our code match our work. That has been read. Okay, 2009-2020 is still tabled. That's sidewalks. Hold on a second. You know what? Just gonna do it off the agenda. It's gonna be easier. All right, so resolution 2020-38, rules of council, third reading. So I'll be moving for passage. This is just our standard rules of council. I do not believe they've made any changes on them from last year, but we have to adopt them. So I am going to, having thread 3 read it, go ahead and move that we adopt.
Second.
All right. Councilman Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilman Bruger,
Aye.
Councilman Curl,
Aye.
Councilman McNamara,
Aye.
Council President Shrimp,
Aye.
and Councilman Wolf.
Aye.
Ooh, passed.
All right.
All right, ordinance 17-2020, annual appropriations. This is our budget for the 2021 year. This is the third reading. I believe we've gone over this in work session. We've gone over this in meetings. I am going to move that we approve it.
Second.
All right. And let's go to Councilman Wolf,
Aye.
Councilman Bruger,
Aye.
Councilman Curl,
Aye.
Councilman McNamara,
Aye.
Council President Shrimp,
Aye.
and Councilman Benedetti.
Aye.
All right. Now, Mark, the next one.
Yeah, this is 19-2020. I believe
We're
this is
waiving
the
readings.
one that we need to pass in a hurry.
Yes, I don't think it needs to be done as an emergency, just needs to be waiving of the readings because we, correct
Well,
me
it's
if I'm
appro-
wrong.
It's appropriation, so, right, we
Yes.
don't,
So
no,
we just
emergency,
pass, we just need to waive the readings.
right.
Gotcha.
And this
This-
is to wrap up everything for the EMS, correct?
This is to wrap up everything, period. It's basically an
Okay.
end of year. This is where we're short. This is where we're left over. That's the simple thing. One of the big things was we typically get a bill for Bureau of Workers Comp in January. That's now due. We just got a bill and it's actually due in December, which obviously we had no idea that was coming. So there's just some little things like that that we have to, you just don't know until the end of the year.
Well,
Simple
then
as
let's do it.
Yeah, so this is 19-2020. This is an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expense of the village of the Minerva Park for the year 2020. As Mayor Hughes just went over, this is tying up fiscal loose ends and making sure monies are in the right account and bills get paid. I am going to move to waive readings on this.
Second.
And seconded.
All right, Councilman Curl,
Aye.
Councilman Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilman Bruger,
Aye.
Council President Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilman McNamara.
Aye.
All right,
And-
we have, oh, I'm sorry, was that everyone?
I think we have Wolf, Councilman Wolf.
Aye.
Sorry about that, jumped the gun a bit. All
I couldn't
right,
remember if I said it, so.
You had your 5. It was good either way.
Okay.
Having waived readings, I will move that we approve this.
Second.
All right. Councilman Bruger,
Aye.
Council President Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilman Wolf,
Aye.
Councilman Curl,
Aye.
Councilman McNamara,
Let's wrap it up.
and I take that as an aye. So then we're going to go
Yes.
with Benindetti.
Aye.
Got it. All
Are you
right.
saying I can't customize? My goodness.
That's
Well, you
right.
can-
No customize. Subject to interpretation.
There you go. All right. So we are good to go on that.
And that should be all of legislation, I believe.
Yes, it is. All right. So now I have absolutely I should know this by heart by now, but I completely lost my agenda.
Oh,
So I
business.
so yeah, I think we're going into new business. You guys got 30 seconds, new business. All right, old business. Nobody?
You want
Hey,
something?
nope, no, not this. All right, if anything comes up,
Did we ever get a railing for the steps out back?
we're still working on it. I mean, yes, we are still working on it. We have gotten the PO ready for it. We're just waiting for them at this point. So, so yes, that's done. Well, it's not done, but it's done. Carpet's coming Thursday for the downstairs room so we can start moving people around. That's being installed Thursday. So that's my old business, new business in a quick.
My question, the heating, ventilating and air conditioning, has anything been moved forward on that?
It's
Heating.
done.
It's been
It's
done.
done?
Yeah, it was installed right after we did it, the 30 days after, because we didn't pass it as an emergency, I don't believe. So it was whatever it was. Yeah, it's been installed for weeks. It's working great. No issues, no problems. That's that. We're thrilled.
I hope I don't get a visit from the Ohio Attorney General for writing the memo that assumes to supersede statewide health directives.
Oh, don't worry, we'll all vouch for you. And just so you know,
All
we'll
right.
blame it. It is Ireland, so we will blame it on Ireland.
Yeah, they came up with the idea that I saw first. So
Exactly.
And
yes, you'll defend.
Santa's on the North Pole. He's not subject to the Attorney General.
Yeah, but I am.
We will all vouch for you. All right. So there is no new business. There is no old business other than the little things that I said. So again, I just want to thank everybody for this year. If anything does come up and I need you guys for an absolute emergency, please don't ignore me. But again, we never know. I know we canceled next week's meeting, but if there is something that comes up, again, you guys will be the first to know, and I'll just beg you to have a meeting in the event we need it. So I appreciate everything you guys have done. If you guys need anything, I am still here most days. So anything you need, just let me know.
My last question, is there any tentative date for trying to move the meetings back into the community center?
I'm going to be, everybody knows that I am the person that wants it more than anybody, but with the cases as high as they are, it's not worth the risk right now. Even if we were keeping it to a minimum of 7 people, it's just really not. So I'm not, I'm all for doing everything we can safely, and it's just not the time. I mean, if I've got everybody sent home right now, then obviously I think that even I know that it's that bad. So we just need to do the right
thing. It is
thing.
wild.
Yeah.
Maybe I
need to
could rephrase that. I know the state and the county been sending out notices, and there's nothing in there about it.
Yeah.
The state has resolved to extend the time period through July.
Right.
Okay.
So I
Okay,
have
got it.
everybody knows I have no thought that I want to wait until July, but I'm also not going to put everybody at risk either. So when it comes to, when it comes to the right time, I think that we'll open it up to whoever wants to come in. If there's still some people that don't want to, that is going to be perfectly fine. But at this point, the cases are way too high to even, we absolutely need to be doing the right thing right now. And doing anything like that would be a smack in the face to a lot of people right now. So we absolutely
I agree.
do not need.
I was just
Oh, yeah,
trying
I
to find
agree.
out if there were tentative dates, and we
No.
got July, so.
No, we really, the state of Ohio gave out July. I would love to say way before then, but there's no way that we're going to put people in risk before then. So
People watching live stream got the July, so that's good.
yeah. So, we'll see what happens. I think we all have our fingers crossed that the vaccine's going to work, and we all have high hopes that we'll be back to somewhat normal in the next few months. And, you know, as time goes on, it'll be even better. So right now I don't know, but not anywhere in the near future. I think
I'll
that's
let
the
you
easiest
guys
answer.
know how I feel after I get mine.
Oh yeah. You're our guinea pig. Let us know.
Oh, I can't get in line fast enough. They're pulling us to start staffing extra COVID units.
Right.
The new cases are coming in every day. People dying in droves, and Americans are dying every minute. Yeah, that's all I've got. So I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling after I get mine.
Right. I do have a stupid question. I know everybody's on here, so I'm really going to do it. So this is the double dose thing. So we have the first dose. When do you take the second dose? And I probably should have just.
Those
2 to 3 weeks ish.
2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I don't want to keep
All
the people live streamed any longer.
Happy holidays.
Move
Happy
to
holidays.
adjourn.
Happy
Christmas,
holidays.
Year,
Go
Kwanzaa,
Browns.
Hanukkah,
Go
all of
Browns.
it.
Yeah. Go Browns. Go Buckeyes. Happy holidays.
Move
you,
to
guys.
adjourn.
Yep.
Move to
And
adjourn. Move to adjourn.
Happy New Year.
Happy New. Yeah.
There you go.
Better year
Bye,
than
guys.
last year.
Bye.
Good night.